This is Grab a Cuppa and my name is Kat. Right, how are you doing? I hope that you had a great week. So in this week's episode, we are having a chat with the Hortons, so Roz and Kev. So they have been together for a long time now and they know each other through and through. But one day, after watching a programme on TV about autism, Kev decided that sounded a lot like him. And he decided to do the test. That programme was about autism. This was a few years ago now. And a part of him knew that it was something that he should research. So after a lengthy research about autism, he decided to get assessed. And then he got a diagnosis that he needed to comprehend what autism was, but also understand why he behaved the way he behaved. And this is their story. This is Grab a Cuppa with the Hortons. And it's been a roller coaster, but how has it been for you guys? Is it just you two?
Yes.
Yeah. In your house?
Yeah, we haven't got any kids.
Okay.
So yeah, it's just us, two cats and a rabbit.
How was it like for you guys?
Well, we're insurance brokers. We work together as well as live together and married. And so we've basically set up the spare bedroom as a home office. So it was Roz's craft room. So it was a case of move sewing machines, put in computers. And we did that the first week of lockdown. And about halfway through, we upgraded from just laptops to having twin screens at home so that we had the same setup at home as we had at the office. And our office is 6 people, Roz and I, plus Roz's sister-in-law works for us as well. And then 3 other staff. And the office is too small for everybody to go in and socially distance. So we're all still working from home. We go in when we need files or when we've got tasks to do where we need the office equipment. But
of course,
apart from that, we're all working from home and chatting on WhatsApp every so often just to keep the team talking.
Yeah, we basically haven't stopped, have we? We just moved location. That's it.
Yeah, so that's been working quite well for you.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, it's been harder because all the people we deal with are working from home as well. Being insurance broker, most of the insurance companies we deal with are London-based. They're not going back into the office. They're all working from home, which makes it, we spend more time chasing people now than we did before, because when they were in the office, they could just shout to the person behind them, what do you think of this? And we'd get a quicker answer. Whereas now they've got to ring somebody, email somebody before we can get an answer. So it's slower.
More frustrating.
I bet. Do you think it takes twice as long to get a task done now?
Yeah. When you're waiting on somebody else, definitely. Whereas before, everybody was where they were supposed to be, doing what they were supposed to be doing. Being at home, you do get distracted. You do think, I can go and put a load of washing on, or I can sort the kids out, or whatever else it is you need to be doing. So, yeah, from that point of view, it can be a bit more frustrating. But we're still working.
We just, I guess it's with everyone. We live and adapt, don't we? And hopefully things will go back to, I wouldn't say we'll go back to a normality, because I don't believe that we will ever have the normal we used to have.
I don't know. It depends. I mean, if the vaccine turns up, then I think that's the way that we'll get closest to how it was. But it's one thing it's proven to me is that I don't need to be doing 4,000 or 5,000 miles a year going to see clients. I mean, I've done one client visit that's 15 miles away in the 6 months of this year, and so meetings will become have proven to be unnecessary. So there'll be more Zoom. I think. Mm-hmm. I think I'd like to carry on with that rather than having to get in my car and drive 4 hours to go and see somebody.
I guess so. Yeah, I guess so. We all becoming some sort of like a Zoom community almost.
Yeah.
Like this. For me, it works because I have a lot of anxiety, especially meeting new people. So for me, do this. It's not like I don't like you guys.
No, I perfectly understand.
Yeah,
I suffer quite badly from anxiety as well. I do.
Yeah, it's the anxiety side of things. And for me, I think that it was the best time to start doing this because of, especially on personal level, anxiety. If it was like, if me and yourselves were like meeting in a pub, I'd be a bit like, oh God, what can I say? What can I say to break the ice? Or maybe I should go introduce myself. Or, you know, there'd be like 1,001 things in my head before I actually take that step.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd probably be a step closer than I would, because I probably would have talked myself out of going.
Yeah, but the thing is, I have done that for so long that it started to stop me from developing like social interactions with people.
Oh, yeah.
Because I, in a way, despite having anxiety and depression and all these different things, I sometimes do crave speaking to someone who, especially in my household, who is over the age of 9, my husband. So,
well, physically over 9, mentally, I'm not so sure about me.
No, definitely not. No.
But let me just I'm going to give you a little bit of my background so that you understand why I'm doing what I'm doing right now. Basically, as I said before, I suffer from depression and anxiety to a severe, scale as such. And I've been taking medication for a very long time. But, it came to a point in my life when I thought, I want to open up and talk about these things. And also with autism as well is something that came into my life, especially when my son was diagnosed at the age of 18 months. And my son right now, he's still nonverbal.
Right.
He's 6 years old, but he has the mentality of a child of 1 year old, basically. And he's he's severely autistic, and he cannot take care of himself. He's still in nappies. And it is like, in this case, we take, 5 steps forward, 10 steps back. So he's constantly. And with my daughter, she's going to be 9 very soon, and she is on the opposite side of the spectrum. So on the what is now called high functioning, where it used to be Asperger's, but she isn't diagnosed just yet. The educational psychologist has been working with her for a very long time, and they said, yes, this is definitely it. There's the traits there, but because of especially with children, the assessment is taking a very long time. So we are on the with the self-assessment stages. This has been taking just over 2 years now. And with children, because there's so many children out there that are going through this assessment process, and it takes a long time because there's not a lot of professionals out there. And there's not a lot of funding, and there's a lot of kids. So that is, my background as well with where autism comes into my life. But there's also with me, I always knew from being very little that I was different. But because my mother didn't know that my behaviour at the time wasn't just me being naughty, it was just... Now that I'm in my 30s, I know that he wasn't being naughty. I know that there's something there because of watching my children. And I'm going through the process right now of getting, coming to a diagnose. It's something that takes a long time. And it's something that it can be quite a harsh process to go through. Yeah. Especially for myself, because of my mother. She was the type of person at the time when I was a kid. It's like, autism, what's that? That doesn't exist. and it's, you know, you're not ill, you don't look ill, you know what I mean?
No.
So that is my background with all these different things. And I was quite, obviously, I really wanted to chat to you both because I wanted to speak to someone as yourself, Kevin, that's been diagnosed at a later stage in his life. And basically, I would like you to, you know, when he emailed me, it was a big essay.
Yeah.
And I read through it. Yeah, I read through it, and I had this vibe on how you like things to work. And I thought that is such an autistic trait, and I loved it. As soon as like I read everything, and the way you express yourself, I was like, yes, that's definitely an autistic trait. And but can you take me back just a little bit? You know, when you were a kid, did you actually like notice something different about you, or was it only later in life?
My first recollection of having to modify my behaviour to fit in is age 4. I'm in class, I'm reading. I could read from an early age. It's part of the high functioning thing. I learned to read quite quickly, and the teacher wanted us to stop reading ourselves so she could read out to us, and I could not see the logic of that when I could perfectly carry on and read it myself. I didn't need her to read it out to me. I could read it myself. Words were exchanged, and I learned that teacher's in charge, but I can't, even though this doesn't make any sense to me, I'm going to have to do it to fit in. And there were other things along the way that I learned to fit in. You'll have heard the phrases masking and mirroring. Autistic people use these mechanisms to fit in with the neurotypical world. I do it. I've always done it. So that was sort of age 4. And as I developed through school, I was always the weird kid. I was always considered eccentric. I'd have not obsessive hobbies, but I would be very into certain subjects. And it's things like organising my clothes by colour and stuff like that. Those sort of almost autistic OCD type of traits.
Wearing the same colour.
Eating the same foods, not liking change, not liking disruptions of routines, arranging to do something and then somebody changes it at the last minute. I didn't exactly have meltdowns because
it causes problems, doesn't it?
It causes pressure and stress, but I know that I wasn't allowed to misbehave. You couldn't misbehave, so I had to just bottle it up and just go quiet about it. That's all the way through my life. So that was school, college was similar. Working world, I was quite lucky in the working world. I took as many courses as I could do to teach me how to fit in. So I've done sales skills, presentation skills, public speaking skills courses. I've done all of those sort of things to teach me how to behave in a business environment in the neurotypical world so that I could fit in. And it's been very rare that I would be myself or allow myself to be myself outside of that. So, when I'm with my friends, I was guarded too. I was guarded with you as well. Yeah. But there was about 4 years ago, there was a series of programs on television about, are you autistic? There was the Autistic Gardener.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. That's what got me to actually get assessed, starting the process.
Yeah. So those shows, I did some online tests to sort of see how I scored.
Me too.
Scored off the chart.
We sat and spoke about it, didn't we? And discussed certain things that you did and whether we thought he was. And I mean, he's always been different.
You know, Roz, for you, did you think it was just like, it's just his quirks, or is there something more there?
When I first met him, somebody I knew worked with Kevin, and we met online. I mean, this was back in 2000. Well,